Hello, everyone. Welcome so much to from Tanzania to Norway. Uh, I'm so excited because today I have a guest, a very, very special guest, Anthony. Uh, Anthony is my good friend, a friend with a good heart, very humble. I just met here in Norway. He's from Kenya, and we are going to just make some stories about experience of men in dating here in Norway. Um, so it's not like I'm going to ask him questions or anything. We're just going to do some stories, and then we just discuss, and then you guys can just give your comments and say what you think. You know, I was just thinking about when this topic came up. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I think I was so selfish to just think about girls um, dating, like dating issues about girls, but I never think about boys. I was thinking like, yeah, boys can handle it. It's fine with boys, but I think there's some challenges that we girls we maybe never thought about, and I will be very happy to hear my friend talk about it and explain what he's experiencing and things like that. So first, I want to welcome Anthony to tell us who he is, what's his name, really where exactly he's coming from. He's coming from Kenya, but maybe if a place in Kenya that you are coming from also. And also, I think my viewers will be interested to know how did you come to Norway? Like, I know a lot of people that come from Africa, and um, everyone that came to Europe, they have a story. It's not. I think it's not very easy to move all the way from Africa to Europe, and I think there's interesting stories here and there, and we would like to know maybe how did you come to Norway. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Anthony, as Alice has said. Yes, thank you for the compliments. I'm a Kenyan. I'm 35 years old.
Yeah.
Uh, I come from Northwest Kenya, a place called Kapenguria. For the Kenyans in the house, I come from
Yeah.
Kapenguria. It's northwest of Kenya, but I studied in Nairobi for 4 years in my
Yeah.
university period.
Yeah.
Yes. So I lived in Nairobi for like 4 years while I
For
studied
years.
there. I'd even
Yeah.
say five. But
Yeah.
when I finished. I had a job in Western Kenya, and
Mm-hmm.
since I moved to Norway, I've been in Norway now for 8 years. I currently work for Red Cross. I'm a social worker.
Yeah.
And if I backtrack to how I came to Norway, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I finished my studies, I was working in Western Kenya again, not far from Northwest where I live.
Yeah.
It's a place called Webuye, and I used to
Webuye.
work there for 2 years. And
Yeah.
between 2010, 2011, and 2012, almost end of 2012. So yeah,
Mhm.
how I came to Norway, it was through a very good friend. I had a chance to be a part of climate change caravan in 2011, a very
Yeah.
big group supported
Yeah.
by a lot of NGOs from different places, and two of them were major from Norway.
Yeah.
And how I came to know is because I met a very, very good friend called Svein, who's like my Norwegian dad. So
Wow.
I met Svein through that same caravan, climate caravan. I applied when I was in Western Kenya, and
Yeah.
I got to be chosen by the Norwegian Church Aid to join
Wow.
that caravan. And we went
Yeah.
through Africa, went from Kenya to South
Uh-huh.
Africa by road. It's a very exciting journey. I had never
Yeah.
experienced this. And I passed even through Alice's country. I passed through
Tanzania.
Tanzania. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I still remember some things. We were in Arusha first, and then we went to Dar es Salaam, and then we left.
Yeah.
We went to Iringa. I think I remember
Iringa. Yeah.
Iringa before we
Yeah.
left from Malawi. But the best thing
Yeah.
about Dar es Salaam, I remember Kipepeo Beach. I'll never forget. Yeah, but the traffic there is crazy.
Yeah. You know.
It's crazy. I went through like when at the third day when in Malawi or just before we left Tanzania, a lot of youth from Norway because we had
Yeah.
very many youth from all over the world from 20,
Yeah.
almost 18, 21 countries, and we were 161. So in this
Oh,
caravan,
so
that's when I met Svein, because Svein had come with his students
mm-hmm.
from Norway. They
Yeah,
wanted to come and experience the African culture and all this,
yeah,
experiencing the same thing, to experience it for real. Like, is there climate change? Is it happening?
yeah,
And
yeah.
when I met him, his youth were really having trouble to acclimatize, to adapt
Oh,
to the
yeah.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know our problems are least back home. Sometimes you come to a campsite and maybe the water is not hot, maybe it's
Yeah,
raining, maybe a lot of crazy stuff. So by the
yeah.
fourth or fifth day, the youth from Norway were complaining that this is not what they stand up for. And the teachers, including Svein, who is now my Norwegian dad, was like, he was the head teacher and he was accompanied by a teacher, and they had to regroup the students together. And it happened to be
Okay.
the truck, the bus that I was using, because we had like six. It was called a caravan because it was we were going through Africa, 6 trucks following each other going through
Okay,
Africa.
okay. Yeah.
So my truck is where the students were brought together because they were really experiencing difficulties. They were almost thinking we should go back. And when
Oh,
they came to us, Svein asked most of us to kind of help them or encourage them. And I might have been part of that, I really gave a good word. Every morning, instead of people just sleeping, they had to kind of have a program. What do you do when you get in the truck?
mm,
So it was really interesting because Swan came later to me to tell me, wow, who are you, Anthony? Because my kids are very impressed. They think you really motivated them well. And that's where our friendship started. And he told me,
what?
Anthony, what do you
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
Do you wish to do you need to do a master's? I said, yeah, of course. But he asked me why I'm not doing it then. And I said I had a small job and it's expensive. I couldn't pay it for myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, he has very good friends. He has very good friends in
Mm-hmm.
Norway. And
Mm-hmm.
he thought he could call it fix me or connect
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
And that's what happened. Like he left Zambia to Norway and the deputy came. We
yeah,
finished the journey. I came back to Kenya. And in January 2012, I sent him my papers. He really fought, he really pushed for, he had very good friends in the university.
yeah,
And they looked at my papers and I could come to study in Norway. So originally
yeah.
I came to study in Norway in 2013. I got admission in 2013. I applied in
Yeah.
2012, came for a visit in 2012 for 2 weeks. And then we followed through. I didn't get a scholarship, but he encouraged me to just apply and he'll figure things out. That's
Yeah.
what happened. When I went home, I applied 2012, October. In May 2013, I got admission. And the rest is
Wow.
history. He and his friends paid for my living expenses. I took a flight in August 3rd, 2013 to Norway
Yeah.
to study. Since then,
What?
it's been now 8 years in
I
Norway.
I think that's a very good story. Because
Thank you.
it's like you didn't know like what's going to happen in 2 years if you're going to live in Norway, or it's like happen. It just happened like that,
Yeah.
and
It was really
you know.
surprising. And I know some people have ever said, Anthony, how did you get there? And I'm like, I think my luck cannot be rewritten. The
Yeah.
chance that I had to meet this guy is
Yeah.
an angel. He's been there. He's still, I even was calling him today. Is
Yeah.
that Christmas plans? What are you doing? Are you coming at us? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
maybe not 24th. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. And he's still there. So
Yeah.
8 years in Norway and I've survived. I finished my studies in 2016. It almost
Mm-hmm.
went 2.5 years, almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was really confused whether I should go to Kenya or not. And most of us as immigrants here, we know that when we've come here through study,
Yeah.
I would say others have come through scholarship. Sometimes it's quite safe because
Yeah.
economy is taken care of. But I came as self-sponsored. And
Yeah.
luckily I had someone who could do it. I was under someone's wings.
Mm.
So I survived. It really worked out well. But immediately I finished school, that's when I realized, oh, I need to learn Norwegian because this is something for most of our people back home. They usually don't think through that sometimes we're in very different countries when you're abroad, and they
Mm.
never imagine that English is not necessarily the first language. So here
Yeah.
in Norway, as Alice, it's Norwegian is everything.
No.
English comes second.
Yeah.
And when it comes to integration, like if you have to come and survive here, you need to learn the language. So I
Yeah.
think I realized it's quite late. If I came in 2013 and it's 2016, that's when I was like, oh, what am I going to do? It was a
Yeah.
bit late. So it's an
Yeah.
encouragement to anyone else that the language of that country is the most important
Mm.
thing. Because
That's
you can have a
that's
PhD
true.
or
Yeah.
master's, but without the language,
Yeah.
you can't. Yes.
Nothing works if you don't know the language. But I really want to take you a bit back on the caravan, the trip from from Kenya to South Africa. What was really difficult to? It was just weather, or it was other things? Is there other things that were difficult for them?
I would say I would say they're quite young. Most of us youth who are from Africa generally, many of us are from Kenya and many were from Norway also, but many other from a few others from other countries. Among the 161, like almost 40 were from Norway and then almost 40 were from Kenya.
Okay.
The rest of them were from other countries. So I would say for them, they were a bit younger than us. They were between 17 and 21, maybe. And I think everything that was happening, like we are used to the hardships, no water, sometimes no running water. In fact, for most of us, the youth from Africa, we were so happy. This was the first time we were leaving our countries. For many of us, this was the first time experiencing that that experience. That experience of traveling through Africa in a tourist truck. Because it's not a bus, essentially, it's a truck that has been modified to go through Africa. It's a tough one. I don't know, Alice, if you've seen these trucks, the
I've
tourist
seen
trucks.
them. I think I did.
Yeah, because they're very self-contained. We were kind of traveling like a military style, kind of, because you come to every camp and you have to build your own tent, and the tents are quite heavy. They're not the tiny ones. They were quite heavy. They are meant to be durable.
Yeah.
I remember, I think the Norwegians were experiencing that every time. You know how structured this society is. You plan something, you leave at 8, you need to get the other side at 3, and everything is okay. The road's okay. Here, back, I remember us telling them, this is Africa, TIA, this is Africa. In Africa, you can't fully predict. So we used to leave the campsite okay at 8, maybe 9. But by the time you get there, one has gotten a puncture, for example, or someone got sick. So I remember we go to Arusha. We're supposed to leave Nairobi at in the early 12, 11. We left Nairobi at 5. We go to Arusha at 10 in the night.
Wow.
No, we left at 1 Nairobi. We left at 1. We left Nairobi at 1. And we were in Arusha very late just because one truck had a problem and we had to wait for others. And then Arusha, we arrived, it was raining. So I think all these things were too much for the Norwegians.
For
like
them,
the unpredictable, and unpredictable. They could not predict.
Unpredictable.
Really, yeah, you couldn't, because you think you're gonna get there, you have a plan, but that's not obviously
but then
the plan.
it doesn't work the way you want.
And then we get to the campsite. The bathrooms are not as sufficient as campsites in Norway. You understand? So there's that thing, you have to share this. So the water is running, but it's not as hot as it should be. We were so many. By the third day, they were like, nah, this is not what we signed up for. I know they had malaria, they had malaria vaccinations, what, but they were not ready for the reality. And I think this is what I told them when I was encouraging them. I was like, when we come to Europe, I know for our culture shock is like, wow. And you guys knew you're coming to Africa. So psychologically, you need to be ready that it's tough. You expect you'll come and find everything is easy. So maybe it's really pushed them to think they are harder than they thought they were. And it might have helped.
Yeah. Wow. That's what an experience. And thanks to you, if you are not there, maybe something was gonna happen. They were gonna go back home or something like that. So it's nice that you are there, and So
sometimes I say it's the best luck that ever happened to me. Like maybe that's the reason why I came here, which is true. Like without that journey, I would not have met Swine, for example. Yeah.
So let's come to dating now. So you've been living here for 8 years, and tell us your experience. We really want to hear your experience.
It's a tough world out here. It has been difficult. I wouldn't say it's been a bed of roses or a walk in the park.
No.
I think, like I mentioned about work, how language is everything, and the same thing, culture and language is everything here. So when it comes to dating, integration process starts from the language, then it starts from adjusting. Do you get education? Then you have to get work, and all this is tied down to social life. Is very weird. Social life is dating is only mainly found online or on social settings when you have parties or this. Unless you're brought up in Norway where you by the time you finish high school, you're going to eat to sports and whatever.
Yeah.
You can't, as an immigrant, it's really difficult to get connections.
Mm.
And so as a guy, I would always look at it like, as an African guy, it could be any foreign man, but we really come here and you find that it's really difficult. We are so used to, in our cultures, is the men who approach, we are the one throwing vibe. Then you come
Yeah.
out here and you realize it's totally different. Women here
Mm.
are kind of on top of the game, or they are the ones who really want, or they're the same. Like gender balancing
Gender,
is completely
gender
almost the same.
equality.
And my experience has come over 8 years later. I realized, like, yeah, they say it's like this, but I have doubts. Sometimes I feel women have a bigger voice
Yeah.
and more. They invest them. Generally, Norwegians or Scandinavians are shy,
Mm.
but in social settings, when when they get drunk, that's when they are quite open. So,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
it's ironic for me because it's been really difficult to get to know them
Mm.
until at some point in time I realized, nah, it's not for me. Like maybe Norwegian or Scandinavian women are not necessarily meant for me. And this is my opinion. Of course, people have their preferences, you have the
Yeah.
rights. But
Yeah.
for me, it has never worked out because I can't get access to them, or the vibe, how I can talk with you, Alice, and or any East African woman is
Yeah.
completely different,
Yeah.
and how I could talk to a Norwegian woman. So I've had it so difficult because dating online wasn't natural for me. Previous relationship had always been, you meet people in their normal settings. Could be school, could be work, it could be
Mm.
random through your family, your sister, your brother. So 8 years later, I would admit that I've dated only one Norwegian woman, and this is my story. Of course, I can never impose to others, but my dating, what I can generalize is the culture side, that
Yeah.
men, they're used to hitting on girls, but you
Yeah.
come here, you have to humble down. You have to figure out how
Yeah.
it works out here. So here, the
Mhm.
best way is to meet people in social settings, or you go online.
Yeah.
Personally, online has never worked out for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it has worked out for others. And in this social setting that I've thought maybe I could, in these parties and everything, same old shit. Like, I
Yeah.
realized getting through to the Norwegian women is a difficult thing. And it comes to personalities and
Mm.
preferences. So I've
Mhm.
realized that in these parties, when people have courage to approach you, it's always women who generally are drunk.
Mhm.
And in
Yeah.
this state, I usually think, yes, these are the time they can express themselves fully. But for me, I look at it more like, she's drunk, you know.
Mm. Yeah.
Other people enjoy it because Norway is known very famously for one night stands. So other people enjoy it, but there's
Mhm.
nothing you really get out of it if it doesn't work. Because
Yeah.
still, I still feel that women really determine that if she has a woman has a one night stand and they like it, after
Yeah.
a week later they'll start talking like, "Hey, hi, what are you doing again? Are we hanging out again?"
Mhm.
I feel if I speak generally for the African guys, I feel it has always been really tricky to figure that
Mm.
out. Like,
Mhm.
there's always been that exotic feel. I would always feel that maybe European women generally, with the people who are interested in us, they
Mm.
might not always love us for who we are. Maybe they just want that
Yeah.
exotic feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not particularly speaking, generally speaking. So
Yeah.
no one should take it out of context. I don't mean it doesn't
No.
apply to everyone. There are people who have interracial marriages, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But maybe at least what I can insist is a gender thing, that my opinion is, I feel women have an easier way, even though it's still
Mhm.
not easy. But I would say women come here and they find men who are quite liberal, and they are quite they are quite open. They're more like, don't expect you to go to the kitchen, they expect you to work
Mm.
too. Taking care
Yeah.
of the child is a bit easy, they're quite used to it. Then we
Yeah.
come out here and we find we have a big adjustment to do, because
Yeah.
back home you have a lot of help.
Yeah.
Back home, men don't do a
Yeah.
lot when it comes
Mm.
to even nurturing the child. So
Yeah.
here I've realized it's tough for men, African men, because you end up finding yourself in that situation. You're accountable, you need to take care of the child,
Yeah.
financially you need to keep up and all this.
Mm.
And when you marry a Norwegian, highly likely you can never be the same financially and even economically. They're quite higher than us,
Mm.
because we still struggle with paying back. We talk about this earlier sometime, that
Yeah.
we have the black tax. We still
Yeah.
pay stuff for our parents, for our
Yeah.
sisters.
That's
So
true.
dating has been difficult. We can talk about it from, I don't know, for hours.
Yeah.
but it has not been easy for me.
No. That's I think you pointed all those big points that is a big challenge, especially this gender thing. I think, yeah, women are so. I think uh, we have much more chance. I think, and the women here in Norway, they are much different. They are very, they know their rights. Like, they are very
They
tough.
know their rights, and
So
I'll put it
it's
in quotes
not
because I
it's not very
feel
easy to
not
understand them.
easy, not easy
It's
to
not
handle.
very easy.
And personally, I made that choice. Like, if I had to do that convenience, because I've had many friends who, of course, all of us, when you come here, also when you decide, like me, 2016, when I had to decide, am I going to Kenya, I'm staying, it was a big decision. Other people, even before it got to that, they had already started thinking, they landed here and they knew, boom, I have to stay. You start figuring things out. I need to get a partner in life and whatever to stay. Me, I didn't go that there because I was under someone's wings. I was a bit safe. But towards the end, it has come. Like, dating is an important part. And someone needs a partner, you need love.
Yeah.
And it's really tricky because people, I could have, if I was a person who conveniently wants a certain relationship, I guess I could have done that. But I've really held myself back because I really believe in, first of all, loving someone for who they are before I really think about what they do, what they bring in my life. So I would say I've really tried not to be extremely materialistic, but here also, even men, you can't avoid it. You need to find a woman who has a job. You
Yeah.
can't be a breadwinner in Norway. Sorry,
No.
it's too expensive here, especially if the kids come and all this. So I know for sure that I'm not as materialistic, but I still wish to find someone
Yeah.
who is well integrated and preferably African. But I'm never saying never any other culture.
No.
But I really preferably have someone who has some roots in Africa.
Okay.
And
So,
weirdly, it's every time you find someone, it could be that they're not ready for you, or others are like you, but maybe you're not ready for them. I found myself in that situation so many times because you find someone that may be emotionally connected and everything, but you look at them and like, oh, you know what? I've been here for a year, still studying.
yeah.
In that situation, I, as a man, also look at that and that kills the vibe. So I can admit it openly that even us, we end up being materialistic. When essentially, if I was in Kenya, being a breadwinner as a man is not so difficult.
Yeah.
It's manageable.
That's true. Yeah. I wanted to add that. I've been thinking when we meet like us Africans, for example, maybe in a club or like in a party, we have Africans together here in Norway. In a way, I feel like most of the time I feel like I'm meeting my family. When you live in Africa, in Tanzania, maybe for example, and then you meet a Kenyan, you see him as a very strange person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but when we are here, it's like when I meet you, I feel like my God, this is family. You're like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that also kills the vibe or?
It's a very interesting phenomenon because same thing in Kenya. There's a lot of tribal. I think in Tanzania, you guys don't have a lot of tribalism, which is a
Yeah.
very good thing. When you talk about Swahili and how it brought you together, even though you have different languages, it has never really ripped you apart. But in Kenya, it has that thing about regional. Where do you come from?
Yeah.
Ethnics. I know you know the tribes in Kenya, right?
Yeah.
Which one do you know?
Kikuyu.
I knew you'd start with that because Kikuyu, they're the most populous. So this thing about, trust me, in Kenya, it's quite open. Like, oh, Kikuyu. When you come out here, you forget about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Kenyan. Now it could be, you could be Luo, you could be Kalenjin. It's as good as it gets. It doesn't matter. You meet in the street, you see this, they call it corruption band. You see that.
Yeah.
Anyone sees that, someone will just say, hi. Nakuona, you start speaking Swahili, nakuona. But in Kenya, it's just like people are strangers. You're like, nah,
Yeah.
hatuwezi mwezi anza kuongea pamoja. So I
Okay.
think I can't really explain that phenomena, but I wish, for example, in Kenya, I wish they could do better. I wish the same tribalism wasn't so visible the way it is, the way we love each other here. So I
Yeah.
would say coming together, like I would let me back to dating. It's really interesting that when you have interracial, also it really gives you a lot of tests. That, for example, my wish that I would have someone that has African ethnicity because there's a commonality. I would always prefer that we have more commonality than differences. I know that
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, in dating, when you have difference, that's the best because it's like unlike poles attract." That poetry is not for me. I think the more likeness, the more similarity you
The
have,
more the
for me,
better.
the better.
Yeah.
So me, I
Yeah.
would rather like I would say Alice, tukiongea na wewe tunacheka, human ile Kiswahili,
Sana.
tukiongea Kiswahili inashika haraka. So I don't want to judge, but my preference would be Niza tamani sana to have that. I would really wish to have more commonalities than the differences. And that's why I would prefer any day an African. But I've never said never. If any other human being comes in my life and is a good person, I won't really
Yeah.
mind. But I know for sure that I won't choose a blonde Norwegian.
Yeah.
Sorry to admit it, as my first number one.
Yeah.
And when one time when I was dating a Norwegian, that thing about going to gatherings, which is very important for us as immigrants.
Yeah.
And these are one of the things that really kind of brought us apart.
Yeah.
We would go there. I'm the person, I'm very open, I'm very social, extremely social, until sometimes I doubt, like, is it too much? Even I'm in a Kenyan setting, Independence Day is usually the big day. I used to be there and I play with the kids. So I invited her one time, and it might not have, how can I say, my expectation, maybe their expectation would be that I sit on a mat and just hang out with them. When my expectation is, I have not met these people for many, and we are making the fire, playing with the kids, I was all over the place. So later it became an issue, more like you weren't there for me, or you weren't really here. And in our cultures, I assume, if maybe it was a Kenyan woman, it's so easy for us. She would be talking with other people, I'd be talking with
Yeah.
other people, and there
Yeah.
wouldn't be that difference. But other people manage. I mean, I won't speak for everyone, but for me, it didn't work out for me.
Yeah. Myself, I can say I also went through online dating, and it's not easy yeah, maybe I can say it's a bit easier for girls, but it's still not easy because there's so many people out there and with very different people, and you never know if this person is good, if this person is not. Sometimes you see a person you just judge with your eyes, and you see someone is look no this one apart like my friend and but it's the best, you know.
Before you met your husband, did you meet other people?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Na ilikuwa yani nilikuwa unamwona mtu hivi unasema oh my god, lakini ukimjia kumjua unaona kabisa he's so nice, you know, like
So you can judge even wrongly.
yeah, you can judge very wrong online.
Yeah.
Yeah, kwa hiyo yani that is a challenge.
It didn't work out for me. When I came to Norway in the first between 2013 and almost 2016, I had a long distance relationship, which wasn't easy again. Oh my God. Since then, I've not had any long distance relationship. It doesn't work for me. So I broke up in like September. And immediately after that, I was like, hey, okay, let's listen what Tinder is. So I got into Tinder. I was swiping left too much because I was like blonde, and then mix African at least. So I wasn't lucky. I was there for only for 3 months, and by the time I went home, end of that year, I gave my phone to my brother, and after that, I've never downloaded Tinder, and it just doesn't work for me. But if I'm challenged, I can make new resolutions. Maybe I can get on Tinder in January.
Don't lose hope, mister. You know, you never know. Some people try in 2 years or something, and then pop, they get somewhere.
Okay.
You like,
But how many,
for
Alice?
me,
How many friends? It worked for you, right? How many of your friends met their partners on Tinder? Are they many?
No. That's why I always say that I was very lucky because when I started talking to my husband, then I knew this guy this is the one. It's like the way he talks, the way we interact each other. It's like we knew each other for long, and of course he's coming from Norway, but there are some things that we just think it's it matches between us, you know.
Nice.
Like it's just
And how
go.
was it, Ali?
Things just flow very easy.
Was it a super like? Was it a super like from you? Was it a super like from
Yeah,
him?
he was. It was a
Because I
super.
realized when I was on Tinder, the only time people would always respond is when you super like them. And me, I never went to the premium. I used to use the normal when you have was one super
Me
like.
too. Me too.
And then every time you had a super like, that's when chances of being responded to were high. But the
Yeah.
normal swipes,
But Anthony, there's other dating sites. People say they are much more serious, you know, like Tinder. I don't know, Tinder maybe can be a bit not serious, but
not serious.
there are people who are like looking for love, you know. So there's many things you can do, like yeah.
This could be my New Year resolutions. By end of December, if I feel like no, you know what, new challenge. Let me get an identity. Then I need advice from you.
You know, I'm here. I'm going to hold your hand and get you through until you get someone. It's like I'm dreaming of a wedding, Anthony's
Come on,
wedding.
hook me up, Alice. You don't have friends who are single?
You know, people are watching us right now, so I'm sure your DM is going to be full now.
You're selling me. You're putting me in the market in the shelves.
I have to. I'm not sure.
Guys, I'm on the shelves. I'm on the shelves. I don't want to blow my own trumpet. You should blow my trumpet. You should say, this guy, sell me.
I will. But you know, I just want to say that you are not in a wrong path. You are still in a very, very good path. There's a lot of relationships that ended up badly because people rush in a,
Yeah.
you know, people rush in a relationship. They have kids and all, and then they cannot come out of it. So they like there's so many things that happening around, and I think you're one of the strongest people that just came up and say, no, I want the right thing. I'm waiting for my woman, my right woman. And that's it, you know? So I'm here. I'm just waiting for you to be happy, you know? Like that day is really coming. You're still young. You're like, you are very nice. You have good heart. And
You're being so
so
nice.
it's just time. Time is just.
You're being so nice. Am I young?
Of course you are. You are. You never seen someone like 60 years who is very like a very huge hope. It's like they say that love is never, you know, you don't look at the age or anything. It's always there. You know, some people 95 years they love each other, like, you know, love is never, it never dies. So yeah. So keep going.
Yeah.
Keep being strong. Don't make any mistake of
I
rushing
should not
things.
make babies yet.
Yeah. So, Anthony, thank you so much. I think you said a lot and you pointed all these main features or things that are making the dating difficult. And
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are learning from you. There's a lot of men watching my videos and also women. So, I think this is going to be a discussion even in the comment section, you know.
That's good.
So
I'll engage them.
yeah.
And I have a disclaimer. It's my opinion, not facts. Okay? So no personal attacks, no judgments.
Yes, I understand.
It's a lived experience. It is my experience and my opinions.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having the courage of just saying what you think about this. And yeah, God bless you.
Thank you. You too, Alice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're a good friend. She's a very good woman. She's called Alice Mpole. Kama mnaongea Swahili, tuchangamke.
Hujanikuta nimekasirika wewe.
Sawa, Alice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.